Hello, happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. And we have a couple fun cards that we're going to make today, a couple thank you cards with the Floral Impressions Suite. So that's going to be fun to play around with. My name is Lori DeGroot from Loritamarie Crafts, and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Calgary, Alberta, and I love to come live so that I can share fun tips, techniques, ideas, inspiration with you to take your paper crafting supplies and turn them into beautiful projects. Yes, so today we're focusing on some of the products from the Floral Impressions Suite, like I said, and the Impressions Abloom Bundle. And I just wanted to point out that there is still the suite sale going on. So I don't know if you've heard about Stampin' Up suite sale, but it's a really great deal where you buy one product from a suite, so like a whole suite or just a product in a suite, and then you get the second one for 50% off. And I just wanted to point out that don't forget that it's not just the ones in the catalog. It's also the online exclusive ones like this one. And it's even like last chance products. So there's a lot of good variety. Some things are selling out. So if you wanted to place an order, I wouldn't wait too long. But it's a great deal. So I hope you take advantage of it. And the other thing I've got going on is my June Stampin' Crate class. Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. And these Stampin' Crate classes are a way for you to get products in your hand and instantly like have a project to make with them. So sometimes we get DSP and we're not really sure, like we don't cut into it right away or we hang on to it or we don't quite know. So this is a good way to like get some product, get some ideas, and have a project done right at the end of it. And then you always have more to keep creating. So this month features the Celebratory Sips DSP. And you can see I'm like running out of some of the patterns there. So you get half a pack of DSP, you get a sampling of cardstock that matches everything. I cut and prep everything for you so that it's easy to put together, and you just have to cut the DSP so that you can choose the pattern that you like. You can use the stamp set that I include, or feel free to substitute the stamp set for something you own. I try to make it easy for you to substitute the stamp sets. So the projects this month are this cute little gift bag. So we're going to be using the party banner dies. And then a fun little like note box with the party banner dies too. And inside is a set of 4 note cards. So the idea is by the time you're done, you will have used all the patterns of the DSP, played around with different color combinations, especially this paper. I find like you can go bright with the pinks or you can go with the greens and the purples, and it's a lot of fun. So tomorrow is the last day to sign up. All the information's on my website under classes, or I've pinned it to the top of my blog page there. So Loritamariecrafts.ca. So that's all that stuff. So let's go down to the desk and start making our cards today. I'll be showing off the suite here. Okay, so what I wanted to say is, so this is the paper. So this is the Floral Impressions paper. And you can see it's got these awesome floral patterns. I've seen some great cards out there, especially with this like rainbow theme. But I'm actually not going to use the floral design paper. So what I loved about this DSP is the backside. I'm obsessed with these patterns. So it's simple patterns that you can mix and match with other things in fantastic colors. So this one's hard to see on the camera. It's a little, because it's a little stripy. But we've got Old Olive, Strawberry Slush, Garden Green with these like little circles, Pool Party, always one of my favorite colors, Fresh Freesia, and the new yellow, Darling Duckling. So what's great about this is that they're going to mix and match really well with not only this suite, but with pretty much anything you have. So if you're looking for something to get 50% off, you could get like a stamp set and get this 50% off, or get this DSP and get some ribbon 50% off. So that's an idea. Here is the bundle called Impressions Abloom. And I gotta say, I have been not resisting, but I already had a floral suite, and so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get another one. But oh, I love this one so much. This oval die was really hard to resist, and obviously I did not resist it. So I'm going to show you a few different ways to use the oval die. And we're not going to be doing a lot of stamping today. It's more about the dies. And then I will actually, on my blog on Saturday, I have a card that's kind of all the stamping, so you can get some ideas. But I love these dies that can just make flowers on their own. And I'm going to show you how to do it out of the DSP, and it's going to look really awesome. So let's get started. And for these cards today, oh, I know, I was going to say what else is in the suite. So the gems are also in the suite, and they're called Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink gems. So you got Strawberry Slush, Pretty in Pink, and then just clear iridescent with the foil in there. And I'm not using these today, but check these out. This is part of the suite too. They're die cuts, they're not stickers, but they will make great backgrounds for your cards. So I'm looking forward to, I haven't made anything with them yet, so I'm going to do that for sure. So these cards will just have a white base. So this is just thick basic white. And I'm going to cut it in half at 5.5 and then score them in half 4.25. So I'll save that one for my second card. And then we've got this one. And for the first card, so I was we're just working with the colors in the suite. So if you know me at all, I love Pool Party. Party is a fantastic neutral, and I love pinks. So sometimes when I'm starting off on a project and you're not quite sure how to use the bundle yet, just go into whatever your favorite colors are, and then your creativity will come more naturally, and then you can experiment later on. So I just went for my two favorite patterns right off the get-go. So the Pool Party is going to be the background, and so I want it to be 3 3/4 by 5. 3 3/4 by 5. Cheryl says she got the dies for scrapbooking. Yes, I think that oval shape would be great for scrapbooking. Okay, so 3 3/4 by 5, and then I want to just mat this tone on tone, so a Pool Party. So I just want a small mat, so it's going to be 1/8 of an inch bigger. So this is going to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Okay, so that's basically the base of the card, and now we've got some fun cutting to do. So we'll grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I want to grab those oval dies. So at first I was wondering, why are there two? Don't they do the same thing? So this one cuts out a frame and cuts out the inside. So let's start with that one. And I'm going to cut the frame out in Strawberry Slush. And I just have to turn this, I guess, to get the handler. Okay, so we'll run that one through. Okay, and so then what you get from this one is you get an inside, and you're actually just going to want to save this for a future project. And this one is your frame. And I just got to get out of here. Come on. It's there. There we go. So it's got a stitch detail. I don't know if that's going to show up or not, but it's got a stitch detail. And you could use these together, but it's like slightly smaller, obviously. It cuts out in the frame. So what the second die does, it does not cut out. It cuts out the solid shape, and it's actually slightly larger so that you can pair it, or what I'm assuming anyway, is so that you can pair it with the outline, because you've got something to glue the outline onto now, if that makes sense. Let me just show you. So I'm going to cut it out of the Strawberry Slush DSP and get that out of the way just for just a second here. Okay, so you can see this one is slightly smaller. And so now I've got something to glue the frame on to. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna use my mat so that I don't get glue everywhere. And just add a little liquid glue. I just usually add little dots all the way around. And what I love about this die is that it just creates the perfect backdrop for anything. So not just the flowers in this set, but I can see all sorts of different ways that I can use this. And then this is going to just kind of fit on top. So let's give that a second to set up. Hopefully that works for me. Oh, too eager. Just give it a second. Okay, so now we've got our solid piece for our background. And now we want to make some flowers. So let's grab those dies again so you can see what's going on here. So we have got these ones. So the outline goes with the stamp set, right? So the outline of the die matches these flowers. But you've also got this detailed one on the inside, which creates like little lines. And it's kind of like the Pretty Florals dies with that one flower. And I like it because it adds texture to your paper. And so it's kind of fun. So let's cut out some flowers and we can see how this all works. And we'll make a little arrangement here for our card. So I wanted to use the DSP if I could, because it's got a great texture to it. So it's going to add texture to the flowers, kind of making it a little more interesting than just straight cardstock. Okay, so for the yellow, for the Darling Duckling, I'm going to use this one here. And so just remember, there's always like a wonky petal. I always call it the wonky petal. And so that's how you know how to line things up. There's always one that kind of like sticks out a little different. And I should use like washi tape or something. It's moving around on me, but it's pretty forgiving once you cut it out if it does not like perfectly centered. Okay, so there's that one. Has anyone played with this bundle yet or used it? I'm excited to make lots of different flower things with it. Okay, so let's show you. So you can see we've got the texture from the DSP plus all those fun lines in there. And I love it. And let me show you with the stamped version. So here's one I stamped. And I think it was worth putting the texture die even on the one that's stamped, because then it makes your paper soft too. And you can kind of like manipulate your flower a little bit. So we're also going to do a fresh freesia. And I think what I'll do is just drop something. I got too many things on the go. I'm just going to snip out a piece there. And so we'll put the little one on here. And again, there's kind of like one wonky petal that pokes out. And then I'm going to grab some white cardstock here. Just going to make it smaller. And we'll do the daisy at the same time. So I'm doing the daisy just in white. And there we go. All right, so let's cut these out. And then we're going to talk about, oh, that totally moved. Okay, we're just going to cut that one out. This is why you use your washi tape or your Post-it notes. That totally moved on me. Okay, let's put this one back. All right, and the little guy. Okay, so I'll show you these in a second, but there's that one and the daisy. And then we need some greenery, right? So there's lots of great options for the greenery. And I like using two-tone cardstock to cut out like details like this, because then I can decide if I want it dark or a little bit light. And so I want to go light. And there's a few different leaf options here, and I can never get the dies back on the same way, you know, when you start playing around. So you've got these two here. That's what we're going to use. You've got two stems and you've got this big leaf one here. So I've gone ahead and cut out these two already. And I've cut them out in soft seafoam, just for some color contrast there. And then I'm gonna grab these two and we're gonna cut out a couple leaves. There are also these ones, similar to the flowers, where you have the outline and the little lines to go with the stamped image. But if you're just cutting out for the dies, I found these ones easier to use. Okay, so a couple leaves. Okay. And now we can start assembling everything. Okay, so we'll just poke these out and then I'll show you kind of how they turned out. You can see they've got the nice kind of lines already cut out for you. And here's the little flower and the daisy. So there are centers to cut out as well. So same thing, you've got an outline and then like little tiny dots and a big one and a small one for the different size flowers. And so I've cut those out already. So I've got the larger size for the larger flower, and then the smaller one will go with these two flowers. Okay, so now that we've got our pieces, let's see if we can make a little floral arrangement here, essentially. Okay, so we'll put our DSP on our cardstock. And remember, I just have an 1/8 of an inch mat, so it's a smaller mat. So if you don't like working with small mats, just make it a 1/4 of an inch bigger. Okay, and we'll just center that on the card front. Okay, and then we'll grab our lovely oval shape. And you can see, if you wanted to use the flower pattern, that also looks awesome. So, and then I'm going to add it, and I'm actually going to put it a little bit to the left so that I have room to get all my flowers on here because I'm going to arrange them down there. So we'll just put that flat on. And next we're going to essentially try to create something that kind of gathers here at the bottom. And so you can use glue if you want. I'm going to use glue dots and dimensionals. And so I'm just going to put the leaves and some glue dots. So a couple people have it, but haven't played with it yet. So this is good timing then, and you can kind of see how it all works. And then you can kind of get creative, get some ideas out there. Okay, and then glue dots on this guy. Okay. And then you can kind of force the curve because it's kind of really straight. So I kind of just like forced it a little bit. And then we'll do the flowers. And again, I'm just gonna make it easy on myself and use a glue dot to put the centers on. I'm always a sucker for anything with a daisy, so I like this one. And then we're going to put dimensionals on the back. Really just needs one in the center. Okay. And I'm going to start with the largest one. And again, you've got, because of those lines in there, you've got all that great texture, so it's really easy to kind of fold up. And I just kind of going to loosely put them on just to make sure I'm kind of happy with how I've arranged them. And yeah, something like that. And then we can just tuck the leaves in for added interest. And so I kind of like to do it after for this one because then I could see where, once I had the flowers down. And you can just kind of tuck them in. So now you've got your great little arrangement there on the bottom, and then we just need a sentiment. So keeping it pretty simple for the sentiments. So this one comes with a few. So we've got thanks and I appreciate you in the script font, and then so very much and for being there. So you can do thanks so very much, thanks for being there, and I appreciate you so very much. So I'm going to do thanks so very much on this one. So thanks and so very much. And I'm just going to keep it easy. We're going to stamp in garden green for the thanks. And I just have scrap paper here. And then I'm just going to cut it to size. So if you want it like perfect, then you can use your paper trimmer. But just for ease right now, I'm just going to eyeball it. So cut that one. And then if you've got like a little strip of white, I'm going to stamp the so very much in strawberry slush. There we go. And you can keep it straight, or sometimes I just like to add a little angle onto it like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put regular seal on the so very much, but I'm going to pop up the thanks. And then kind of layer them together over here. Together. See if I can get my fingers to work. Here we go. And then we need some gems, right? So I'm going to stick with the strawberry slush ones and add them on here wherever you like. Here is our first card. Let's grab our bone folder here. And there's the first one. So you can see without using the floral patterns and just using the floral dies and all those great colors on the DSP, on the, I guess what I call the back of the DSP, it just gives you your color scheme kind of all ready to go. And it looks great. Now let's move on to our second card. And for this one, we're going to do a similar base, and then we're going to change up the layout to show you a different idea of what you can do with the oval and have a different layout of your flowers. So for this one, I'm just going to be using two colors for this one. And then I thought I would share just a couple different color combos when I'm done, so you can see it would look good no matter what your favorite color is out of this paper. So I'm cutting this again to 3 3/4 by 5, and this is the garden green pattern. And I'm going to pair it with the Darling Duckling for a pretty yellow and green. And so this is going to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I think that's all I need that for. And so let's just go ahead and put these together so that's kind of done and out of the way. And then we have a fun way to do the oval. But I just realized I forgot the piece. I'm going to have to get up and get it. It's a good thing everything in my craft room is fairly accessible while I'm doing a video. It's one of those things. It's like you try to be so organized, but there's always something you forget. I always joke with this on my class nights because it doesn't matter how many times I check my list. There's always one craft supply that eludes you and then you forget to bring up. Okay, so now I'm just going to grab an embossing folder and we're going to add some fun texture to our oval and some white paper there. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm going to use the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. If you haven't got this yet, I love it as a good staple. I'm trying to open it here. It's I don't know, I love it. It's great for adding a little bit of simple texture to your card. So what you want to do when you're cutting out an emboss thing is cut it out first and then emboss it. Otherwise, you are going to get a very flat embossed thing when you don't want that. So we're going to use that plain oval, the one that does not have the stitching on it. And let's go ahead and cut that out. Okay. And now I just need platform 1, and I don't need the rest to emboss. Grab our oval. And then we'll grab our embossing folder. And I want my lines to be vertical. So I am going to try to line up the edge of my oval. So the edge of the oval is actually quite straight. So I can line it up with the black line here so that hopefully the lines on my embossed image are straight. Because it actually, you know, obviously on something like this kind of pattern, it does matter if it's straight. And now I've got plate number 4 on top for the 3D embossing folder. And then we'll run that through. And then we've got this awesome kind of background piece to build up our flowers. So we do have to cut out. I just wanted to show you a couple more of the dies. So bring back platform 1 and 2. I call them platforms all the time. Plates, I guess. Too many terms sometimes. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to cut out a couple more of those little leaves, just like we did last time. But this time we're also going to cut out a stem. So there's 2 different stems. So you've got a totally straight one and one with 2 stems on. And so I'll probably need another piece of green. And maybe I'll do the dark side this time. So let's go dark side. Remember, this is 2-tone cardstock, so it's great for mixing and matching light and dark. I'm going to grab Darling Duckling discard stock. And then we want to use these flowers. We haven't used these yet, so I want to show you what those look like when we cut those out. And see if everything cooperates for me. Run that through. And yes, that's all our pieces. And let's start building everything up. Okay, so we've got our stems, a couple leaves. Then we've got these fun flowers. And thanks. Everything's stuck here. Before I lose a die, that's how you lose them, right? When you just like, oh, I'll just put it here on my desk. And then next thing you know, it's like long lost. Okay, and then this is the other shape. So you could, you know, they're kind of like a view of a flower that's not quite all the way open. So you could do them individually, but I'm actually going to put mine all together. And I've cut out ahead another daisy. So I've got another daisy there. And I have another center that I already did. Okay, so there's our flower base. So we'll put the center on our daisy. The daisy was just out of white cardstock. And then the little one, I'm going to take one of the smaller ones and layer it on the front of this big one. Kind of, it's like, how did I have this before? And then I'm going to put the glue dot on the front of this one. And kind of layer it behind. And then you've kind of got one whole flower there together. And I'm just going to start off, we'll just put a glue dot to get it onto that stem. And I think I'll just put this one right into the glue dot. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to add some more stability there. but this just gets us started. Okay. So we're going to put this on, and I'm trying to see, I think I just used tear and tape because I already got a lot of texture to it. And I find when it's got a lot of texture like this, I like to use tear and tape as opposed to seal, just to make sure it's good and stuck on there. And we'll peel off the backings. And we'll center this on the card. And we'll turn this guy over. And then I'll do a couple dimensionals, one kind of overlapping with the green stem just to give it some stability. And I'm wondering if I can put a little one down here, and then that'll just hold the flower in. Okay, hardest part is peeling off all the backings, right? So I'm actually gonna put this one to the side. So kind of like that with the yellow one behind. And now we get to add our little leaves on there. So 1, 2, and then I have a fun way we're going to do our sentiment on this one as well. So put one down there and one up there. For our sentiment, I kind of wanted it to go over top, but add a little interest. And I feel like I had the dimensions somewhere, but now I forget. So we're gonna wing it a little bit. We're gonna use the I appreciate you. Okay, and we're gonna stamp in garden green. And try to center that the best we can. So this is 3/4 of an inch. Normally I do 1/2 inch, right? But that's obviously not big enough for this one. And then I thought it would be fun to kind of like do a faux like banner kind of idea, right? So you can score just past it, and then I'm gonna turn it around actually. And then score again at 1/4 of an inch. And we'll score just past the words and then add 1/4 of an inch. And then you can fold this back and then fold your other score line up. And then you get that kind of little shape. And we'll trim that off. And then we'll make it into a little banner. So I just snip up the middle, then corner to point, or if you've got a punch or something that does that better, then you can do that. And then we'll just trim this one off a bit so it's even. And then we'll make that a better shape too. Okay. And I'm going to try something different than how I did it before. So I think I'm going to put a little adhesive on the back of the banner part and dimensionals on the center part. And I'm going to see how this works out. I put dimensionals before, like here, and I didn't really like how it's sitting on the card. So we'll experiment here together. Okay, and then it kind of sits over top of that flower. And then we can push it down with the dimensionals. And I'm going to use the clear ones just because I didn't have any pink on this card. And we'll just add a few of our lovely gems. And that's it. So 2 fun layouts with the Impressions Abloom Bundle. and of course the Floral Impressions Designer Series paper. And like I was thinking, like easily, you're not a yellow person, you tweak this out to purple, or maybe or fresh freesia, I mean, or you add in the old olive, right? So you've got two greens to work with. So if you want to change the look, you can use old olive instead of the garden green, and then you can pair it with I think old olive and fresh freesia look good together. And then I might stick with the garden green for the strawberry slush, but then you can have a little set of three, say with totally different color combinations. So again, this was a fun one to play with. I loved the ovals from the second I saw it, but I just recently got this bundle with the DSP, and I love it. And I just love that background paper of the DSP. So I'll just come up here. So thanks for watching. Took the time to watch the replay. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I hope it gives you some ideas of what you can do using the backs of the papers. And then obviously you've got the other side of the DSP with all those flowers where you can have fun creating with that as well. Don't forget to sign up for my June Stamp and Create class to make a really cute gift bag and note cards with the celebratory Sips Suite. Take advantage of that suite sale, which is on until the end of June. I'm going to be taking a break next Thursday because it's my kids' last day of school. So they're getting out early, and there's always like fun things going on. But I will be back the week after with a super fun project with brand new suite called Painterly Pairs. So can't wait to show you that. So have a good couple weeks, and I will see you in July. Take care.